Zohran held a press conference to respond to President Trump's threat that he was going to do all sorts of things to him, including round him up, deport him, jail him, etc. Here's Mamdani.
Yesterday, Donald Trump said that I should be arrested. He said that I should be deported. He said that I should be denaturalized. And he said those things less so because of who I am, because of where I come from, because of how I look or how I speak, and more so because he wants to distract from what I fight for. I fight for working people. I fight for the very people that have been priced out of the city, and I fight for the same people that he said he was fighting for. This is the same president who ran on a campaign of cheaper groceries, who ran on a campaign about easing a suffocating cost of living crisis. And ultimately, it is easier for him to fan the flames of division than to acknowledge the ways in which he has betrayed those working class Americans. Because we know that he would rather speak about me than speak about the legislation that he is shepherding through Washington, D.C. Legislation that looks to build upon one of the largest transfers of wealth we've seen in recent history in his first administration and do it once again for the very Americans who already have enough. We should be fighting for those that do not have what they need to live a dignified life.
This is an expression of a populist Democratic Party that could exist, that does not exist, and that if it did exist, it would represent a party that was actually worth working people respecting and voting for.
He pivoted to affordability. And it's like, this is what you do if you realize your average voter isn't Liz Cheney. This is how you run a campaign where you're going after Trump, but you're not fully taking Trump's bait. And I think it's genuinely a pretty interesting development for Democrats that they now have a kind of textbook example of how to do the thing.
It's not backing down on the initial charge. It's not apologizing for any of the culture war stuff that Trump is doing here. It's pushing back on that, but then it's moving and saying the reason you're doing this is because you're a billionaire that doesn't care about people and you just want to distract from the fact that you're stealing everybody's Medicaid. It's really interesting because the 2017 version of Democrats against Trump would have just fully seized on the culture war aspect of it and said, Donald Trump is a bigot, he's a xenophobe, we are a nation of immigrants, and anybody who said that Donald Trump supporters had quote unquote economic anxiety was said to be code for the real reason that they supported Trump, which is their racism and their homophobia and their bigotry and on and on. And so because that was the case, if Democrats shied away from talking about economic anxiety, Mamdani instead takes Trump at his word and says, if you notice in that clip, he says, Trump ran on these things, people voted for him. The point he's making is people voted for Trump because he promised he was going to lower grocery prices, he was going to make the city more affordable and fill their lives with some dignity, make their lives better. That's what Trump said he was going to do. And he's talking to Trump supporters and saying he's not doing that. What is he doing? He's getting you all riled up about me when all I'm trying to do is lower grocery prices.